It's the Joseph Bristol Show.
If you enjoy the video, hit the like. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe.
Welcome to another episode of the Joseph Bristol Show, where I just talk about life and different things in our society that I think need changing or adjusting, or just essentially just things about life that I want to talk about with everybody, right? And so welcome 2025. This is the beginning of the year, the new year, and I thank God I'm here. I thank God that you're here to watch this. If you're watching it in the future, even better. Thank God that you're alive to be able to see this, right? And you got the technology and the energy to watch this, right? Okay, so what happened to me is I have, for the last, I want to say 5 years, I was on a journey of betterment, trying to better myself, better my life, advance my social and economic status in the world, right? And one of the things that I had set for myself was every year my life has to get better. Every year I have to advance my life. So I moved to Fort Pierce, Florida, and I was living with my sister the first year I got there, and this was December. And then the next year rolled around, and I ended up renting a room, and I got a job, and I bought a car, right? And then the next year after renting the room, I got an apartment, I got a better job, and I started going to college. And then, so that's 2 years in living at Fort Pierce, right? So each year I upgraded my life. And then the next year, I got a degree. I got an even better job, right? My government job that I'm currently at. And I was still in my apartment. But so life is good. Life is good. And then I ended up getting a new car, which totally was a bad idea because I was almost done paying off my other car. Literally, I owed $8,000 left on the car. And I traded it in for a new car, which was, I don't know what I was thinking, but whatever. And then, so then the second year into my new job, I met somebody. I basically fell in love. And if nobody knows my backstory, my ex-wife, she died. She was murdered. And so for 9 years, I wasn't in no relationship, right? Because the people I was meeting didn't really want a relationship, and nobody was taking me seriously. And it was just a lot of mishaps. So basically just had fun for 9 years straight. And then I met this girl, and my spirit really took to her. And I just knew I wanted to be with her from the moment I saw her. So I pursued her. I chased her, which I encourage everyone, do not chase anybody. That is not the way to a relationship. Do not chase anybody. If someone shows you that they don't like you, believe them. They don't like you. There's no such thing as playing hard to get. Someone don't like you, bro. They don't like you. That's it. It's not, in the beginning I didn't like you, and then 3 months later, all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, I like you now. That's not really how that works, right? Then again, that's not true. Sometimes it does work out like that. But I guess the circumstances, it just depends on the circumstances. So whatever. So end up chasing her. We got together. And a year and 4 months we were together, right? So recently we broke up last year, sometime around October. But last year, July, was my birthday. And I didn't make an update video. So if you go back into the playlist, you will be able to see that I usually make an updated video every single year on my birthday talking about how I have advanced my life, right? And I didn't make one because I basically didn't advance my life. I was in the exact same position I was in for a whole year from when I met her, right? Same apartment, same car, same job, nothing new, nothing changed. So last year, July, I was talking to her, and I was just explaining to her that, I'm trying to advance my life every year. I have financial goals that I want to meet. I have things that I want to do with my life. I want to live a certain way. And, our views and our goals in life did not align with one another. So we had to break up. And this breakup really broke me. You can read all about that in my blog, and the link to my blog is going to be in the section below, in the section below, right? So it really broke me. It completely broke me. Listen, you gotta laugh or else you'll cry. And right, but in the breakup breaking me, it elevated me to the next level. It reinforced in my mind and in my heart that I have to live the life that I want to live. And everybody's not going to come with me. And one of the things that she used to say to me all the time is everybody doesn't want to be successful. Everybody doesn't want to live up to their full potential. Everybody doesn't want to be their best selves. Some people like to just be exactly who they are. They like their life exactly as it is. Because I used to tell her, listen, if you work at McDonald's making minimum wage, nobody's happy doing that. They do it because that's their circumstances. They have to do it. But there's nobody that's working some minimum wage job, struggling in life, living in the ghetto, living with their parents, and they're happy. They're like, oh yes, this is the greatest life ever. No one's doing that. Nobody is unhealthy and bad bodied and like just like, oh, I don't care, I'm happy. No one's doing that. Internally, they are hurt. They're angry. They want better out of life. And so they drink, they smoke, they jump from relationship to relationship. They have sex with strangers. They do anything to hide the pain inside of them, to not have to do the work that's needed to change their life, right? Like if you're 400 pounds, of course you're going to say, I'm beautiful as I am. I'm beautiful as I am, because you have three options. You can either say, I'm beautiful as I am and don't do anything about it. You can say, I'm beautiful as I am, but I want to be more healthy. I want to lose weight. I want to be more beautiful. So I'm going to diet and exercise and do the hard work. Or option number 3 is you can say, I hate myself. I'm not beautiful. I'm ugly. I'm this, I'm that. Basically beat yourself up, which nobody wants to do because that sucks, right? So those are the 3 options. And it's easier to just accept your life as it is than it is to do the work necessary to change. Okay, so with all that said, the breakup forced me to change. It forced me to really stop and look at myself and look at the life that I've been living and ask myself, do you want to continue down this path? Do you want to stay this person and keep getting what you've always got? I have it tattooed on my chest. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Nothing changes if nothing changes. If you want change in your life, you have to change. And the breakup did that for me, and it forced me to change. And I've been sitting with myself for the last October, November, December, January. So we're into January, 4 months, going on 4 months. I've been sitting with myself. I've been asking myself some hard questions. What do you want out of life? Do you love yourself? Why did you do this to yourself? What is the goals? What are you trying to pursue? Who do you want to be? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just been really digging deep into my spirit, into my core, looking at childhood traumas. Why does this make me angry? Why am I always mad? Why do I lash out at people? Why, when I get upset, I just immediately snap and curse and yelling and I'm doing all this? Why? Why do I get upset and I shut down? I block people. I just immediately, I don't want to talk to you. And then for like 3 days straight, I don't talk to the person. And then I pop up and act like nothing never happened. Like, what? Like, why do you do that? And in doing that, it like I said, it sparked a lot of things, right? So all of this that I'm saying it to say that the next couple JB Show episodes are gonna be about some deep stuff, right? And I got a lot of episodes that I need to get through and talk about. But right now, what we're gonna talk about is change and living in frequencies, because I believe that the whole universe, the whole world works off of frequencies. And it works off of frequencies because we all know that atoms are vibrating, right? So sound is the vibration of air particles, and they hit your eardrums, and that's what you're hearing, right? Solids, liquids, gases are all atoms that vibrate at different speeds in order to create a solid, a liquid, a gas, and different forms of matter, right? So everything is vibrating. So your thoughts, your words, your actions all release vibration, frequencies. And so change, I want to talk about that. And so so I had to give the backstory of why I made this specific recording about change when I was sitting with myself and really just thinking about, who do I want to be? What am I doing? Why am I so hurt that I didn't end up with this girl, even though I genuinely believe she was the one for me. Like, my spirit believed that she's the one for me. So the question is, like, why am I hurt that it didn't work out? And honestly, now that I look at myself, I look at the situation, it is my ego. My ego was hurt that she didn't want to change for me. That's ultimately why I'm hurt. It's not really that me and her are not together, because our paths didn't align. What I want out of life, she don't want that. So obviously it's not going to work, duh. But my ego is hurt that what I want out of life, she did not want to come with me. She didn't want what I wanted out of life. She didn't look at me and say, hey, this is a good man. This is a great relationship. I could really be happy here. I'm going to jump on with him. I'm going to change to be what he needs and wants me to be, so we could live the life that he envisions. And that's my ego that's hurt. So, but I want to talk about the change, right? So here we go.
All right, so one of the things that you got to start doing when we use our video clips is in the voice clips. In the voice clip, I will say what it is that you are supposed to talk about, and then that's what you will write on the whiteboard, okay? So that's what we're going to start doing. So that's how the new video clips of the voice clips in the Joseph Bristol Show is going to work, y'all. I hope y'all like it better. Right. With that being said, this episode is about the hubris of man. How your ego is not to be killed, but it is to be understood. You have to understand your ego. You have to understand when you're living in your ego, moving in your ego, existing in your ego. So all of us move and exist in different frequencies, but there's a main frequency that we always return to, a main mood. So that's where you get the phrases like resting bitch face. Oh, this person is always mean. That person's always a happy person. This person they never curse, etc., etc. Because these people exist in a main frequency. Okay, so your ego, there's people who exist in the ego frequency and don't even know it. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about someone who thinks that they don't have to change. Anybody who says to themselves, oh, I am who I am, I am who I am, and I don't need to change, and I like who I am, I'm perfect just as I am. These are people that live in their ego. So what am I talking about? Give the example. The greatest example is how the universe changes. Even God changed. So that's what this episode is about. Talk about that, how change is inevitable.
Right. So I was working on pulling up the whiteboard on my tablet, because this is like usually the JB Show episodes we do the whiteboard where I write out and draw out the examples and whatnot, but it's taking a little bit too long, and I'm in the mood to do my work. It's time to do work in 2025. Okay, so we don't have the whiteboard, right? But actually, boop, no, there it is, right? So it looked like we do have the whiteboard. Okay, so what am I talking about when I say everything changes? Everything does in fact change. That is a fact. Everything changes. Everything. The planet is actually spiraling like this. That's how our planet moves. It spirals and it moves forward, which is why they say in real-time travel, if you were to go back in time, you would end up like in the middle, in the vastness of space, because you would essentially go back and the planet would not be there, right? So you would have to know exactly where the planet was at the precise moment that you want to go back into that time in order to travel back in time correctly, right? But everything changes. And what I was talking about with God, how God changed, is in the Old Testament, that God is different from the God in the New Testament. So if even the Creator, the Almighty who made all of us, changed, who are we as people, as humans, to be so egotistical to believe that we don't need to change, that we are above changing? The seasons change, Mother Nature, the planet changes. Remember, all the continents were one big continent. They broke apart, they changed. The planet changes all the time. It changes through earthquakes, tsunamis, rivers, volcanoes, icebergs. The planet is changing. The birds, the animals, the bugs change. Everything changes. But people, humans, have this egotistical idea in their minds that they don't need to change, that you can stay exactly who you are as a person, and that's fine. That's okay. That's crazy. Now, understand, I get it. Some people are living in hurt. They're living in anger. That goes back into living in your frequency. So you're going back to your default frequency. So yes, you can have a moment of happiness, a moment of joy, a moment of bliss, and then you go back to your main frequency, which is being unhappy. And what do? You drink, you smoke, you go have sex, you call up your friends, you distract yourself from actually sitting down and trying to understand, why am I so unhappy with my life? Why am I feeling this way? And then one day you sit down and you realize, oh man, I feel like this because 8 months ago my dad died and I never really mourned the loss of my father. I just been drinking and smoking and partying ever since the funeral. I never actually stopped and processed that he's actually gone, and it hurts me and I'm hurt. You know what I mean? Like, okay, episode's getting too long, but most of these episodes are gonna be long because this is like, we about to talk. Okay, we about to talk. I got things I want to talk about that I need to get off my chest. And I feel like the lessons that I'm learning, the spiritual awakening that I'm going through, I want to share that with you. I want to share that with you, the person that's willing to sit down and watch this video and listen to what I have to say, because they believe that what I'm saying could help them. It could change their way of thinking and growing and being, and they want that, because everything changes, and change is inevitable. You may not want to change today, you may not want to change tomorrow, but eventually you will have to change. Change comes for all of us. You're already changing. Every time you hear something, you see something, you smell something, that changes you. It changes it changes the way you think, the way you process, the way you feel. It changes you. You can't avoid change. Now, you could change for the better or you could change for the worse. That's up to you. And ultimately, you got to pick what hurt do you want, because no matter what, you're going to get hurt. So you got to pick a hurt. Again, you can pick the hurt of, I'm beautiful just the way I am and I'm not going to do nothing about it. Or you could pick the hurt of, I'm beautiful just the way I am, but I want to be better. And I'm going to go through the hurt of change to be better. With that said, I need to make the next episode will be about how change hurts. Alright, so thanks for watching another episode of the Joseph Bristol Show. Let's all remember, man, that we all out here trying to do the same thing. Survive and be happy. Y'all stay blessed.